The forest floor was littered with fallen leaves and twigs. Sunlight dappled through the canopy above. It illuminated a curious sight. A young satyr named Marsyas, all youthful curiosity, stumbled upon an oddity. It was a flute, discarded and forgotten. Unbeknownst to Marsyas, this was no ordinary instrument. This flute was once owned by the goddess Athena. She had cast it aside, deeming its music too disruptive, too emotional.
What a peculiar instrument. I wonder who left it here.
Marsyas, drawn by an unknown force, picked up the cool, polished wood. He brought it to his lips. The first notes he played were hesitant, stumbles on a path unknown. Yet the flute seemed to resonate with a power of its own. It guided his fingers, whispered melodies into his ear. The forest around him hushed, as if holding its breath. A new force had awakened in the woods, a force of music and wild, untamed beauty. The days turned into weeks, each one filled with the sound of Marsyas's flute. His melodies became the heartbeat of the forest, a constant presence that wove through the fabric of nature. He roamed the forests and glades, his music echoing through the ancient trees. The notes seemed to dance in the air, creating a symphony that resonated with the soul of the woods. Animals would stop in their tracks, captivated by the sheer beauty of his melodies. Deer, foxes, and even the elusive lynx would gather, their eyes wide with wonder. Birds would fall silent, their songs mere whispers compared to the emotions Marsyas wove with his flute. The air was thick with the magic of his music, a spell that held all creatures in thrall.
Listen to this. It's as if the flute speaks to me, guiding my every note. Each sound feels like a conversation with the forest itself, a dialogue between man and nature.
His skill grew with each passing day. The more he played, the more the forest seemed to respond, as if it were alive and breathing with his music. He learned to coax laughter from the wind and tears from the rain. His flute could mimic the gentle rustle of leaves or the powerful roar of a storm. His music became a force of nature itself, as powerful and unpredictable as a summer storm. It could soothe or rage, calm or excite, depending on his mood. The whispers of the forest praised him. The trees seemed to lean in closer, their leaves rustling in approval. The rustling leaves applauded him. Every branch and twig seemed to join in the ovation, a natural symphony of admiration. He was the undisputed maestro of the wild. His music had become the anthem of the forest, a testament to his unparalleled talent. But with his growing talent came a dangerous seed. The more he played, the more he felt a dark presence growing within him. Pride began to bloom in Marsyas's heart, a dark flower fed by the adulation of the forest creatures. He reveled in their admiration, basking in the glory of his own making. He believed himself to be unrivaled, his music unmatched. His confidence grew, and with it, a sense of invincibility. He had, however, forgotten the origin of his gift. The flute, once a humble instrument, had become a symbol of his power. He had forgotten the goddess who had deemed the flute too powerful. The divine origin of his talent was lost to him, overshadowed by his own pride. Word of Marsyas's extraordinary talent reached Mount Olympus, carried by the whispers of mortals who had heard his enchanting melodies. Apollo, the god of music, light, and truth, heard the whispers carried on the wind. He was not pleased. The audacity of a mere mortal, a satyr no less, to challenge his divine supremacy was unthinkable. A mere satyr, a creature of the wilds, dared to claim mastery over the divine art of music? This was an affront to the very essence of Apollo's being.
This cannot stand. I, Apollon, must remind the world of the true source of musical divinity. The world must know that the divine cannot be bested by the mortal.
Apollo, with his golden lyre and voice that could charm the stars, saw this as a challenge, an insult to his very being. His music was the music of the heavens, unmatched and unparalleled. He descended from the heavens, his golden chariot parting the clouds, his eyes blazing with righteous anger. The sky itself seemed to tremble at his descent. Marsyas, blinded by his hubris, saw not the danger he had invoked. His confidence was unshaken, his pride unyielding. He welcomed the challenge, eager to prove his supposed superiority. In his mind, his talent was unmatched, his skill unparalleled. He did not understand the chasm that separated mortals from the divine. The gap was vast, an insurmountable divide that Marsyas could not fathom. He did not comprehend the power he dared to challenge. The divine was not just powerful, It was the very essence of existence, something beyond mortal understanding. His arrogance would be his undoing. The stage was set, the air was thick with anticipation, the tension palpable. The forest itself held its breath. Nature seemed to pause, as if aware of the monumental event about to unfold. A contest of music, a duel of pride, was about to begin. The stakes were high, the outcome uncertain. But one thing was clear. This would be a battle remembered for ages. The clearing, bathed in the warm glow of the setting sun, became an amphitheater, a sacred stage where the divine and mortal would soon clash in a contest of unparalleled artistry. The trees, ancient and gnarled, leaned in, their branches forming a silent audience, as if nature itself was eager to witness the unfolding drama. Apollo, radiant in his divine beauty, stood tall, his lyre gleaming in the fading light. His presence was commanding, a beacon of celestial power and grace. He played, and his music was the music of the heavens, a symphony that transcended the earthly realm. It was the sound of stars colliding, of planets singing in their orbits, of the universe unfolding in perfect harmony. Each note was a testament to the divine order of the cosmos.
Hear the true essence of music, Marsyas. Feel its power and majesty. It is beyond mortal comprehension, a gift from the gods themselves.
Marsyas, his face flushed with a mixture of confidence and growing unease, listened to the divine music. He could feel the weight of the challenge before him. He felt a flicker of doubt, a cold whisper of fear against his bravado. The stakes were higher than he had ever imagined. Then it was his turn. The moment of truth had arrived. He raised his flute to his lips, and the forest itself seemed to hold its breath, the air thick with anticipation. He played, pouring his heart and soul into the music, each note a reflection of his deepest emotions and desires. His melody was wild, untamed, a torrent of raw emotion. It was a stark contrast to Apollo's divine symphony. But against the celestial symphony of Apollo's lyre, it sounded chaotic, almost desperate. The forest seemed to echo with the struggle of a mortal reaching for the divine, a poignant reminder of the limits of human endeavor. The music faded. Silence descended upon the clearing, a heavy, expectant silence.
The Muses, goddesses of art and inspiration, had been summoned to judge the contest.
Their faces were unreadable as they whispered amongst themselves, their decision carrying the weight of destiny.
King Midas, too, was present, his infamous golden touch a symbol of his power and his folly.
The verdict was swift, the judgment absolute.
Apollo, with his divine music, was declared the victor.
Marsyas, his face ashen, his pride shattered, had lost. The forest, which had so recently echoed with his triumphant melodies, now seemed to close in on him, suffocating him with the weight of his defeat. He had flown too close to the sun, and his wings of wax, woven from pride and hubris, had melted. The fall, he knew, would be swift and merciless.
Apollo, his victory a hollow one, stared down at the defeated satyr. The anger that had blazed within him had subsided, replaced by a cold, unsettling emptiness. Perhaps he saw a flicker of his own youthful arrogance in Marsyas's shattered pride. Or maybe it was the sight of the satyr's trembling hands, the hands that had dared to challenge a god, that ignited his wrath.
The punishment was swift and brutal. Marsyas was bound to a pine tree, his cries for mercy echoing unanswered through the silent forest. His skin, once vibrant with life, was flayed from his body. The once beautiful flute, now stained with blood, lay discarded on the forest floor, a silent testament to the price of hubris. The Muses turned away, their faces pale with horror, their divine music silenced by the screams of the defeated. The blood of Marsyas, so unjustly spilled, seeped into the earth. It mingled with the tears of the nymphs who mourned him. From this gruesome sacrifice, a river was born. The river Marsyas, forever stained with the memory of the satyr's music and his pain, flowed through the valley. It served as a somber reminder of the danger of challenging the gods.
But the story did not end there. Legends whispered that the skin of Marsyas, hung from a tree as a gruesome warning, was not entirely silent. Whenever the wind blew through its empty shell, it produced a sound, a mournful echo of Marsyas' music. It was a haunting melody, filled with pain and regret, a constant reminder of the price of pride.
Apollo, his victory tainted with the blood of a musician, did not find solace in his triumph. Some say he was haunted by the memory of Marsyas' screams, the cries of a creature whose only crime was to love music too much. He hung his golden lyre on a willow tree, its music forever silenced by the memory of the satyr's fate. The river flowed on, a constant murmur of sadness in the otherwise tranquil landscape.
The tale of Marsyas became a cautionary whisper, a story told to young musicians to remind them of the fleeting nature of fame and the danger of pride. It served as a reminder that even the most beautiful music could not mask the ugliness of cruelty and the enduring power of regret.
The story will continue in the next videos. Stay tuned.